Hello, gentle viewers. This is Indian, welcoming you to a new episode of Out of the Park Baseball 19. We completed another disappointing season, as disappointing as a 91 and 71 season can be. If we take a quick look at the team records tour, you'll notice for the past 4 years in a row, we've won 90 or more games each season, coming close to winning 100 games. And we've only ever made the playoffs once. And we actually lost money last year, too. It might be time, while I'm thinking before we do anything else, we might want to slightly increase our ticket prices. So let's look at the Yankees. How much are they charging for their tickets? Almost $7. $4. Yeah, I definitely think we've been successful enough. I'm going to increase ticket prices to $2.50. Which should mean significantly more revenue, even if I don't end up spending it. So let's go through the team and see what worked and what didn't. Chili Davis really, really worked. It's not obvious how he was... offensively, he's actually slightly worse compared to 1983. Power, his homers were up, but his doubles and triples were down. Total hits slightly down. But yeah, you think I'm going to argue with the 303, 360, 507 batting line from a catcher who also played pretty darn good defense? I am totally happy with Chili Davis. Vaughn Hayes put together another excellent season. 306, 378, 503, hitting 24 homers, 31 doubles. 179 total hits, and even drawing more walks than he struck out for the first time in the last couple of years. No, actually, last year was the only time he struck out more than walked. Oh well. So somebody raised a great point, and I believe it was Random Human, but forgive me if I'm mistaken. We need a new first baseman. And I wanted to emphasize something that I mentioned way back in tutorial videos, but it's worth watching because I think some people only started watching with OOTP 19. The position ratings are not the same as the defensive ratings. The defensive ratings, I think of like athleticism. This is what a player could reasonably be expected to achieve once he reaches a certain level of position familiarity. But in our case, the only position he knows even kind of well is third base. And he played a pretty terrible third base. He actually cost us a win with his bad defense. And so keep that in mind. If someone is legitimately athletic, you can make him play at a position and he'll eventually gain knowledge and experience at it. Don Mattingly put together another very fine season. Another batting title. Led the league in doubles, led the league in hits. Slightly worse than last year, but only by a tiny bit. And he put together a pretty good season back at first base once we bumped aside Eddie Murray. Tim Raines also put in a good season, but not a great one. It's starting to look like maybe he's peaked a little early. He will be a free agent after next season, so we may want to think about if he is part of our future or not. It's really hard to argue with a player that's this good overall. Especially one who's playing a good second base. So there's no real rush to get rid of him. But we may want to see what he can accomplish. Because right now, if he's not hitting over 300, his base running doesn't help enough. Dick Schofield, who toward the end of the season didn't play very much, nonetheless turned in another very fine defensive season. If his bat could even get to league average, he'd be amazing. As it is, he's merely very good. Pat Bone finally got his full year up in the majors and didn't hugely disappoint. Good contact, good on-base percentage, not much in the way of power, but still double-digit homers. And he did play DH for most of the season. This is acceptable from a DH. It's maybe not ideal, but it is acceptable. Morris was disappointing. Morris's defense didn't make up for his subpar offense, and then it just gets worse from there. The worst starter was Joseph Stewart. But I mean, he's a weird sort where all of his value comes from drawing walks. And so, again, this is a position that we could still probably profitably replace. So we still have basically the same problems that we did last year. We have a weakness in the outfield. Reggie Jackson was almost a complete bust. And we still have him for... Oh, no, he's actually a free agent. I will not be re-signing him. He did provide power. He did draw some walks, but he was... Oh, wow. A god-awful right fielder. Yeah, he might have had 0 errors. But we look at the advanced stats. He only got to the routine plays. So basically, he just didn't try. Less than half of the likely, and yeah. Reggie Jackson was an expensive bust. Except in terms of experience. We might get a draft pick out of him. Jay Greb did not do well. He played okay in the field, but just barely okay. But our 2 big stars to upgrade would be third base, so I can either move Hayes to first or DH. A new outfielder, so I could move Mattingly maybe. And then we really need at least one more big bat. The heart of the order is real good, but I'd like to have at least one more bat. Let's look at the pitching. Dave Stewart was great but injured, and everyone else ranged from okay to outright terrible. This is the other place where spending money might behoove us. A really elite, top-notch starter. Let's look at salary arbitration. I will happily offer... There's no way I don't offer Vukovic. There's no way I don't offer Eddie Murray. What is a Type B free agent? Oh, it's in the supplemental first round. Okay. Of course, only if they sign... yeah. Mark Colley is going to be removed. A lot of players coming off the roster, and none of them really caused me too much fuss. I mean, George Frazier has just not been that great a reliever. I'm going to go ahead and non-tender him and try to find a better reliever. Mike Morgan is an okay starter, but again, he's not crazy good. Enough to get a raise, but I am not playing a bad utility player, $90,000 a year. You can have 75 and be lucky you're getting any raise. John Morris. He's such a bad hitter that even his fairly strong center field play isn't good enough. I think we'll keep both of the outfielders. And I'm going to non-tender Stewart. How much does he want? 110. We'll give it a think. I can't risk Reggie Jackson accepting arbitration because you can only have so large a cut. It's not worth it. Someone else can have him. I'm going to go ahead and sim up to the arbitration hearings. So there was a recent update to OOTP 19. The biggest change is they supposedly fixed the prospect list, so you wouldn't get like players who suck getting offers. Top defensive players: Schofield won a Gold Glove. Chili Davis won another Silver Slugger. Any other interesting awards? Come on. I know I didn't have any relievers that were that great. No best rookie. I'll never win AL Manager of the Year until I make the playoffs. No real votes for pitcher. There's some votes for Mattingly and Hayes and Chili Davis, but none of them were good enough to make. Damn, they had 2 MVP candidates. It's hard to fight that. Alright, last chance. Anyone I want to just dump outright? Not really. Are you kidding me? You let Lubritich win. Lubritich thought he deserved 200 grand? Okay, this is clearly a typo, because lots of people are getting like 200 grand, and it's like, you're not that good. That's weird. Must be like a recalc. And Vukovic and Eddie Murray both declined arbitration. All right. Let's check our funding. We've got about $1.5 million. So right away, I want to try to see how much it'll cost us to lock down Tim Raines. Whew. 900 million? Let's see if we can't save some money on the front end of this. And I'll actually offer you $1 million toward the end of the contract. Would you take this for a deal? You would. And I'll submit it. We're probably overpaying for Tim Raines, so we're hitting that weird era in history where salaries are just going to start shooting up and up and up and up and up. And getting ahead of that will be very useful to us in the long term. Free agents. So we've got some options here. One option I find extremely attractive is Mike Marshall. Because he's super young, he's cheap, relatively speaking, and he's a great hitter. And he would fill the first base hole. But we're going to do something a little different to begin with. No, because I can only afford to make one dive. Dale Murphy is a position we already have. I can move Julio Franco to first base like they did in real life. These are all type A free agents, though. And I don't want to lose a draft pick just yet. So I'm going to go ahead and sim up to the draft. And then after the draft, I'll make some offers, maybe. That's the problem. Everyone's got a type A price attached to them, and I'm not willing to pay that right now. Floyd Bannister is a type B free agent? Damn. He'd be a nice little starter, actually. I will definitely consider him. But let's go ahead and just... this is a strategic decision, and I don't want to lose any players. Alright, so I don't want to lose any draft picks. We've got some players near the upper ends. Joe Redfield is kind of mediocre as a first baseman, but we have options. They're not all great options, but we do have options. We really need that starter. I think that actually has to be where we focus our talent and our money. Although Mike Marshall is extremely tempting. To get a young first baseman... Ooh, Randy Johnson, Barry Bonds, Mike Stanley, Ken Caminiti, Mark McGuire, Dwight Gooden, David Justice, Rafael Palmeiro, Greg Jeffries, and Will Clark. That's an absolutely outstanding class of talent. Mike Stanley was good, but not great. Was it Mike or Mark Stanley that played? No, I was thinking Mike Sweeney, who played first base for the Royals. Like, Jeffries is like the worst name on that list and still had a pretty good major league career. And the fans are pretty happy. I think I'm happy about that. Let's go for Hall of Fame voting. This is always fun. No. Again, Bill Freehand being a catcher, I'm probably going to vote for him. I think real life Tommy John should be in the Hall of Fame, but this version, not so much. Sudden Sam. He's the closest thing to a truly dominant starter that we've got. Roger Nelson actually turned out pretty decent. I'll toss him a vote. Gotta love Gaylord Perry. No one's winning 300 games, which is interesting. Veda Pinson's not good enough. There really are no doubt. There's like no doubters here. Mel Stottlemyre, maybe, and maybe Carl Yastrzemski. No, I can't vote for Yastrzemski if I'm not going to vote for... Yeah. Because, I mean, Yaz is okay, but there's nothing that suggests he's better than Veda Pinson. Except by a very tiny margin. There just are no doubters in this class. So I will vote for this ballot, and we'll see what happens. Something tells me, again, once again, none of the big free agents will sign before the draft because no one wants to lose a draft pick. A trade proposal. You'll give me an okay reliever for a pitcher without much of a feature and a catcher who's at least reasonably decent. I would need something else. I could get Omar Vizquel. David Cone? Yeah, they won't do it for David Cone. I'm not going to take this deal. No. It's not good enough. Any big names sign yet? Paul Molitor. I could have gone after Molitor, maybe. Maybe. Come on, people, sign Eddie Murray. Bobby Bonds got a 3-year deal. Damn it, no one ever signs my free agents, and so I don't get draft picks. Jerks. Robbie Alomar's in the draft too, and Brady Anderson. I mean, damn, this is a good-looking draft. Of course, I'm the 23rd pick, so the really good ones are probably going to be gone by the time I get there. I'm just going to go and auto drop to my pick. I don't even want to know who I'm missing out on. Roberto Alomar would cost me a buttload of money. Why does the game love John Jaha so much? OSA thinks he's garbage. What about Mike Sims? Sims at least looks like he's got a little more well-rounded bat. He would want so much money to sign out of high school, though. I could take Walt Weiss. Weiss was never great, but I really do need a first baseman. And he's already kind of good right now. Like, he is literally good enough that I would seriously consider putting Don Mattingly back in the outfield. But Roberto Alomar is really hard to pass up on. We got some good pitchers here, too, like Chuck Finley. OSA likes him better than my guy does, but I do need pitching. Terry Mulholland. I don't think I can justify Chuck Finley as a first-round pick. How good is Jeff Manto? Now, we're getting these really skewed results based on what our guy favors. Damn, you really like Chuck Finley. The question is, do I trust my scout or do I trust my gut? My gut says we need pitching, and Chuck Finley can potentially be a reliable third starter. Or do I go with my scout who says John Jaha will be an amazing player? The only consensus on a great player is Roberto Alomar. I just can't afford him. I think we're going to take Finley. I think that's the right move. Yeah. I know as a first baseman, he would have filled the slot very nicely. Silva could play first, but he only literally hits for power and draws walks, and that's not good enough. Joey Cora, Roberto Alomar. I'm going to draft him. Here's my thinking. If I can't afford him, he goes back into the draft next year, and I get an extra second-round draft pick. If I can get him to sign, I get an amazing player that I can eventually put Tim Raines in the outfield. So yeah, I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to waste a second-round pick, and if I don't sign him, I don't sign him. Right. Jim Fregosi. Who does OSA really like? You like Ken Hill, and then you like basically no one else. I'm going to trust my scouting director. Although I really shouldn't, because he clearly has a type, and he loves that type. Batting potential, contact. Domingo Martinez would actually be a pretty useful bat to have in the system. I'm going to go ahead and draft him with my 3rd round pick. Pete Carey, sure. David Blakely, yes, please. As always, I'm trying to compare stuff to control and make sure we get someone who can at least occasionally throw strikes. Well, I'm going to take you and turn you into a reliever. I think you'd be a good pick for that reason. Yeah, you're going to be a reliever. Because he's got really good stuff, and I'm willing to take a risk and see if he can sort him out. And I'll take Steve Peters, too. William Hernandez. Good contact, good gap, really good batting eye, mediocre power. I'll take that. I'll take a stab at Jeff Aller and see if he can meet the requirements. Jermaine Casey will never make contact. Steve Santora. Tyler Berlinski, sure. And I think that'll do. I'm not going to go through 48 rounds. All right, let's sign the other draft picks, the cheap ones first. I only have $2 million for contracts. If I sign Roberto Alomar, I'm basically saying we're not signing a free agent. He wants more than $4 million. I'm going to offer him $1 million. I know he won't take it, but maybe he will. There's no way he takes that, I don't think. But maybe he will. And let's quickly check and make sure there's no one we want to put. Honestly, again, it's another lot of players who, if someone takes, I don't care. We have Woods Woody, though, so that's fun. I mean, Fernando Gonzalez is an okay back of the bullpen kind of guy. I've got loads of roster spots open, so. All right. I think now we start making our free agent splashes. Bob Moose. He'll be back for spring training. He's got really good control, but he is injury prone. I'm going to put in an offer on Mike Marshall. I literally can't afford that. Watch. It's going to say, nope. Might as well kept Eddie Murray for that price. Alright, I'm going to try to bring in Eddie Bain at a much lower price. Would you take this deal? You'll think about it. Okay. That's what we're going to stop on for right. Oh, it's also the Rule 5 draft. I might be able to grab some interesting players here. Just go until my pick. I could bring Rick Sutcliffe back. I've heard worse ideas. I mean, I know he doesn't throw many strikes, but... There's also Thomas Heckman, and Heckman at least has the advantage he has room to grow. I think I'm going to go ahead and grab him just as a back of the bullpen type arm. It's not sexy, but it might be still a big boost. I'm just going to go ahead and just skip the rest of the draft. Not Joseph Abalone. Fans are kind of bummed about losing Eddie Murray. How much did he end up signing for? Oh, damn. He took a below market value. Damn. Roberto Alomar's still thinking about the deal. I'm just waiting for him to refuse it so I have my cash back. Yep. How much do I have to spend on? Yeah, now I've got another $1 million to spend on free agents. Do I make the splash from Mike Marshall? A good contact bat, great power, good base running. Not a great first baseman. I did say we needed a new starter, though, didn't I? And Pascual Perez sounds awfully tempting. I think pitching will help us more. So I'm going to make an offer on Pascual Perez. This is such a reasonable offer, I'm not even going to question it. Done. And then maybe I can get Marshall to take a significant backloaded deal. I do also want more outfielders, so... Oh, yeah, and I've also got Eddie Bain. Wow, Don Wilson? What? How did I miss him? 240 wins actually really good. I don't know how I missed him. His WAR was 7... Did I just miss him? Is there some reason I didn't see him and vote for him? I don't know what's going on there. That's weird. Poor Willie Stargell couldn't even make it past 1 year on the ballot. Ooh. I don't care what the fans think. That's... Reggie Jackson was literally worthless to us. If I can get Perez and Bain, I think we'll be a better team. And I'll get a second round pick next year. That's reasonable. Here's Eddie Bain. Fans are pretty happy about that. And we didn't cost us much. Good job. There are so many job opportunities available on the Blue Jays. Just so many. There's Pasquale. Another tool in the rotation O'Doom. A good number 2 starter is hard to find. Now how much do I have to spend on free agents? About 600 grand. Mike Cosgrove wants almost no money. Because he sucks. I mean, I don't think I can go for him. Darrell Evans at third base. Now that is interesting. Good power and plate discipline and very good defense. But not much in the contact department. Nonetheless. I can actually get you for less money. No, he wants a longer term deal. I'm not giving... No. I will happily offer Mike Cosgrove a Major League deal. Even if I don't agree with his rating, just because he's so cheap. And I'll bring in a Robert Arnold, too. There we go. Just fill out the bullpen a bit. Ooh, he's raised my budget. Okay. How much do I have for free agents? Almost $2 million. Of course, now there's no one that's really worth signing. I'll tell you what, Darrell Evans. I'll give you a 2-year deal. But that's it. Okay. If I didn't get the boost to my budget, I wouldn't have signed him. Excellent. Cosgrove and Arnold. Just filling out the roster. Nope, team option. You give me a team option for both years, and we've got a deal. Because you need the Toronto Blue Jays a lot more than I need Darrell Evans. No, I'm not. I'm not getting into a bidding war over a third baseman. No. What about an upgrade like Jim Rice? What would I have to give you just for Jim Rice? A pretty decent player. What about like an Adam Brito and a Paul Thutzis? Peltola is just a bullpen guy. And I grant you he was good. But trading a reliever for an everyday guy that will significantly upgrade our lineup. I'm going to do it. And I'm just going to keep Don Mattingly at first base for this year. All right. Thank you, Trading Block. Los Angeles gave him $3 million. You know what? The Dodgers clearly just want to burn money. Ellis Valentine. Nah, not good enough. How is Roy Johnson hurt? How much money did you get? Holy shit, did you frickin'... Wow, he got paid. I'm not even mad. That's mad props to Darrell Evans. I'd actually put you in the mix for a rotation spot if you weren't injured. I think we won't add anyone else to the spring training roster unless there's someone like amazing. Yeah, Bill Swaggerty's a nightmare waiting to happen. Michael Costello honestly does have a bit of future to him, so I'm going to let him go for a bit. Yeah, there's not really anyone else here. I'm going to move you back to first. Just so I don't get everyone and their brother pounding down my door demanding that I trade them my best player. I have Rush stuck in my head. Which is, of all the bands to get stuck in your head, a pretty good one. And sure, you can go ahead and set up my pitching staff. Right, let's finish spring training. I hope I didn't make a mistake in the draft this year. Jan Jeha would have been a nice immediate upgrade to the team. But Chuck Finley fills a hole we desperately needed filled. Player development. Any interesting changes? No. Richard Evans got better. Wilfredo Martinez got a bit worse. Chili Davis got a tiny bit worse. This is him achieving his potential, though. Jeff Lawson made some significant gains, as did Ricky Adams. Pretty good. All right. And one more day, please, and thank you. All right, so we've concluded the offseason. We basically shored up the bullpen a bit. It seems like we're doing that every year. But I think this year was more needed than others. But we really just added Pascual Perez. a decent mid-rotation starter, which we desperately needed last year after Stewart went down. And we added ourselves a new left fielder, Jim Rice, through trade. So we'll see how that turns out for us. Thank you as always for watching the video. Please remember to like and subscribe and comment down below. Let me know what you think we did this offseason and how we did. And until next time, this is Indian, and I bid you good day.